What's up, guys? It's your boy Dillo Pillow. Today I'll be giving you my top 10 albums of 2021. I listened to a lot of albums this year. I love listening to albums. I think some people nowadays kind of listen to a lot more playlists and stuff, but I think listening to a full project and the piece of art that the artist creates is a really important experience. This list of 10 albums are the ones that really stood out from the pack. Like, they were just the best of the best. Like, they stuck with me the most. Also, when I was making this video, I took it way too seriously, like it's my most important piece of content or something, but like, who cares what my favorite albums of the year were? Like, it's just a talking point. It's not really that important, you know? It's not going to be like someone's going to look back on this video in like 3 years and be like, Dillo Pillow forgot to include an album in his top 10. We hate him now. No. Also, I'm not a music critic. I'm a music enjoyer. That's it. That's what I want to brand myself as. So I'm not going to talk about any flaws in any of these albums in this video. Like, these are the best ones in my opinion. So I'm just going to talk about all the positive things. Also, like, these are just my favorites. Like, I don't really think there's like a best album or anything. So it's just opinions. I want to add a few honorable mentions. Isaac Zale and Chewy, Think Good Thoughts, is a nice album. It's a feel-good album. This was one that hit me like at the beginning of summer. I was enjoying the vibes. Great production, light production, and good vocal performances, good rapping. All around, good album. You should definitely check it out. Another one is Quadras' From Me to You. I've been a Quadras fan for years, from his FIFA content early on and just his YouTube content overall. So to see him make a project this good was just blew my mind. Like, I knew he was capable of making good music because I enjoyed voice memos, but he really went all in with the production on this album. He made it like a really cohesive piece as well. His vocals were very improved in my opinion, and overall I'm just excited to see what he's got next because the highs in this album are really good. Next we got Arm & Hammer with Haram. Anything Alchemist touches is probably going to be like really good, so shout out to the other Boldy James albums that he did too. This is like a really eerie album overall, which is like, you know, that's the energy that, you know, Arm & Hammer have. Elucid and Billy Woods are mysterious people. But the way that Alchemist produced it is also just kind of relaxing. Like, you can sit back and just chill. And yeah, I enjoyed the album overall. Billy Woods and Elucid are like really good writers, so I need to check out more of their work. Last honorable mention, we got Z Loopers with Van Gogh's Left Ear. This is kind of wild. This is a wild album for sure. I didn't know Z Loopers prior to this, but I need to dive into more because this was fire. It's very versatile. There's a lot of good sounds in there. There's some really high replay value tracks in here. But I will say, do not put this on the aux. People will get upset. At number 10, I have Nick Rose, Ceiling Theory. This is by far the least known album on this list, but I had to highlight it because I love the album. Only like 2 songs have over 1K plays on this album, but you should know this album. Like, Nick Rose is the future in my opinion. I feel like he's one of the most talented like overall musicians that I've heard in the underground scene. Like, the production is incredible. His vocals are incredible. There's so much emotion. There's so much dynamic elements to the music. His writing is really good. He can rap very well. Like, what's not to like? I feel like if we're going to talk about versatility, we have to talk about Nick Rose. The theme of Ceiling Theory overall, as I see it, is that Nick is kind of realizing his potential, but he's not comfortable in his current reality. And it's just about like, you know, working towards that and getting yourself going. I think a lot of emotions are captured in this album. I think Nick has gone through quite a bit in the past year, and I appreciate him expressing all this and sharing it with us because I like the album a lot. The 2 best songs on here, if you want to check out a couple, are Tokyo/Don't Jump and Borderline. At number 9, we have Makami's Pray for Haiti. I love Makami now. I was skeptical of him for a while, to be honest, because like the quality of his music wasn't that great. It was like recorded, just not great. But having Westside Gunn executive produce this and really put it together was just an important piece to this. And it just took it to the next level, and it was needed. I knew Makami could rap well, but like his writing on this project is pretty ridiculous. Unfortunately, we cannot read the lyrics because he doesn't post them. But my favorite line on here is, "Oh word, your rap's braggadocious. Put this 38 in your mouth. Go ahead and spit your magnum opus. Makami is an icon." End quote. Makami actually has some crazy vocal skills too. Like, that was probably the most impressive part of this album. Like, his Haitian influence and stuff that he expressed on this and really captured that Haitian energy in some of these moments. That was really cool. And the way he used Creole, I love that. Being proud to be Haitian and representing the country is cool. I like that a lot. The beat choices are really good too. Almost every one hits. So this is overall just a really good album. My 2 favorite songs are Marie and Au Revoir. At number 8, I have Peggy Mafia's LP If you know me, I say that JPEG Mafia is the best like artist across all genres. So it might not make any sense that I have this at 8. You're like, how would he have that so low and say that? But he's got so much great music, and I think this is the only time I'll allow myself to be critical in this video, but this is not my favorite work from Peggy. It's still incredible. Like I said, he's like my favorite artist, like the best artist, I think. And of course, he's going to deliver quality then. I think it's pretty important to listen to the offline version because some of those tracks are really crazy and some of the best on there. And all these tracks really show like Peggy is continuing to get better at his production, and it's really cool to see. Just overall, a bunch of like crazy moments in this album. The layering is crazy. I feel like he shows off his writing a bit more than like on All My Heroes Are Cornballs because he's really rapping a bit more. I think this is probably Peggy's most varied album as well. Like, there's a lot more to offer. I think if you were new to Peggy, you could probably pick out a few tracks off this album versus like Veteran is all kind of crazy, and then All My Heroes Are Cornballs is a specific mood as well. He talked a lot of shit on this album too. Like, he calls out the weak ass men in the industry and all these people who kind of hate him on the album. And I love that energy about Peggy. I love to see that. I love the album. Top 2 songs on this one: Sick, Nervous, and Broke, and Thought's Prayer. At number 7, I have Little Sims with Sometimes I Might Be Introvert. Little Sims really blew me away with this album. Like, she is not only an incredible rapper and incredible writer, but the actual music is so well put together. It's like a movie, this album. Like, the way it all flows together is so cool. Beat selection, song structure, everything about this is so neat. She's like a really, really good storyteller too. I think that's one thing that stood out. She told us a lot of emotional experiences from her life, and even told one song from the perspective of her cousin. Like, she told his story. The album is overall like cohesive, but also versatile within like the beat choice and kind of vibes that she creates, which is good. I think the themes are pretty consistent across the album though, which is nice. I love the way she used interludes as well to kind of fill in some gaps in the story that maybe weren't best expressed as a song and just a little bit of dialogue, so that was nice. 2 best songs on this one are I Love You, I Hate You, and Standing Ovation. At number 6, I have Tyler, the Creator with Call Me If You Get Lost. It's always great to get a Tyler, the Creator project. You're just going to get a really high quality album. He's almost never missed with anything that he's put out. This took on more of like a mixtape feel, and you got DJ drama on here. You got more rapping than the last 2 projects, which was a nice switch up. I think maybe some of his newer audience didn't appreciate it as much, but I like it a lot. I think one of Tyler's best skills is his ability to create a cohesive and creative track. As you expect with him, the production is going to be unique. It's going to make sense for the emotion that he's trying to capture, but the way he chooses features is like super unique. I think maybe he's the best in all of hip-hop at that. The way he made Young Boy sound on What's Your Name is just ridiculous. And like all of the features were great. Like some of the names on here I didn't necessarily know, like Daisy World, Fana Hughes, or Tizo Touchdown, but they all really added an important moment to the album. I'm not sure what direction Tyler's going to go with the next album or when that's going to come, but meanwhile, I'm going to keep bumping this one for sure. I did an album review of this one as well when it first came out, and I think that's one of my best videos, so I'll link that right now. 2 best tracks: Hot Wind Blows and What's Your Name. At number 5, I have IDK with You See For Yourself. This was probably my most anticipated album of the year because Is He Real is one of my favorite albums ever, so I was just looking forward to the follow-up. I think IDK's best skill is creating a body of work. I feel like these songs all flow together so well and create this overall story of him kind of learning about love, because that's something he didn't have in his childhood, and it's expressed in a really unique way. I don't really even have a favorite song on this one because the way it all flows together is really important. Like if I hear one song outside the context of the album, I want to hear the one that's next after it. Like I have that ingrained in my head because of the way the transitions all move as well. Like I just need them to all follow each other in order. And I think that's how you know you did well with an album, if it all meshes together like that. I like all the feature choices he had too. Like there were some creative ones in there, and the production was varied a good bit, so it kept you entertained and on your toes. It's a great album. I love it. I can't really pick like a top 2 songs on this one though, because like I said, it just all goes together. At number 4, I have Mick Jenkins with Elephant in the Room. I had known of Mick Jenkins prior to this year, but I hadn't really fallen in love with his work yet. This album just like completely blew me away though. Mick has like the strongest presence of anybody in hip hop recently. Like he makes you hear every single word that he's saying. And I think this album really stands out for that reason. It's very important in hip hop this year. I think we kind of lacked someone with like a massive voice and like you got to hear what I have to say kind of person. And I like that about this album a lot. His lyricism is also elite, and beat choices are incredible as well. He has some nice hooks on here too. Like, he can actually sing pretty well. He explores a few themes throughout here, and I'm not sure I understand all the themes well yet, but I think addiction and the struggles of a black man in America are some of the major themes here, and they're expressed in a very unique way. Mick is kind of negative about these topics, and he sounds depressed, but he also doesn't feel afraid to share it. I like that, you know, being open about it. I feel like this album hasn't even grown on me fully yet. Like, I've only heard it probably like 8 times so far, so I wouldn't be surprised if like I look back on 2021 and this album ends up being first when I look back in a year or something like that, because it's just that good. Like, I think it's going to continue to grow on me. 2 best songs are Valley of the Shadow of Death and Is This Cigarettes. At number 3 we have Dende's A Happy Man, and I think this album was really important to me because like it kind of altered my viewpoint on music as a whole. I always kind of thought that the best albums were going to be like these high budget projects and people with like the most experience. And I think with Dende being, you know, an up and coming artist still, he blew me away with this album. It is incredible. And it kind of proved to me that like there is a bunch of incredible music out there that no one knows about. I hope that more people do find this album because I think it deserves to be heard by many. And I'm thankful to be one of the ones that heard it because it's a beautiful album all around, not only just from the instrumentation and the vocals, but the emotions that Dende shares with us and the stories that he tells. Like, he really put his heart into the album. And he's just so talented all around. Like, from the vocals, that's very clear from listening to the album, but the writing is really good. The song structures are neatly put together. And the album isn't too long. Like, it's 10 tracks and he gets his point across quickly. He doesn't have to make like a lengthy album or anything. He didn't put a pressure on himself to do that. He just expressed what he needed to and wrapped it up. Dende is now one of my favorite artists. He dropped another R&B EP this year too. That's great. And I just can't wait to see what's next for him. Also, shout out to Billy Blunt and all of the features on this album. Everyone added something great to it. 2 best songs are I Cried and Phone Number. At number 2, I have Isaiah Rashad with The House Is Burning. I'm just very thankful that we got another Isaiah Rashad album because it was 5 years we didn't know what he was going through. But the fact that it's this good as well is just amazing. I feel like this is such a one-of-a-kind album. Like, only Zay could make this. The way the production meshes with his vocals and his style it's like so good. It's almost indescribable how good it is. It just works perfectly. Like, every moment on the album is great. The feature choices were incredible too. Everyone that appeared added so much to the album. And I think this is just a beautiful piece of art. Like, when I think of this album, I think of going on a walk on like the nicest summer day possible, just like happy as can be. And it's not even like the happiest album, like expressively and like what he's trying to say, but I think he displays it in such a beautiful way. And like, he is feeling better. He is like feeling like himself again, which is why it's portrayed like that. I don't think there's ever a bad time to spin this album, and I would say it's probably the most replayable album of the year. 2 best songs, in my opinion, they're all great. The 2 best, What You Said and HB to You. My number 1 album, the best album of 2021, in my opinion, is Slow Tie's Tyron. This is not one I expected to be here, to be honest with you. When I first heard it, I knew it was great. I talked about how I loved it so much, but I didn't expect that it would hold the spot. Like, maybe because I was used to, like, 2020 wasn't the best year for music, so I was like, damn, this is one of the best albums I've heard in a while. But like, maybe that's just because 2021 or 2020 was a little bit weaker. But you know, I expected maybe something to come around in 2021 that would kind of push it down the list, but it didn't happen. This is a masterpiece album, in my opinion. I don't think it's gotten enough credit. It didn't get as much covered, maybe because Slow Tie kind of backed off on promoting it because I think he had a child like not too long after the album came out, so obviously that's going to get priority. This one deserves a lot more attention, in my opinion. Like, he just nailed every aspect of this album, and I think maybe some people don't love it because he's from the UK and he raps like a little bit different than everybody, I guess, but like, he deserves this. Like, it's so good. He's also known as like this kind of crazy guy, but I feel like he really went into his more emotional and open side on the second half of the album, which is really like where the beauty comes into this. The first half is definitely crazy, where he's like fighting depression and just going at it like crazy and acting crazy. But then, yeah, the second half, he really opens up and slows it down and says what he needs to say. And I'm glad he did that. Like, I hope he feels a lot better now too, because like, he's been going through a lot for years, I feel like, and he needed to express this. The beats and the feature choices are all incredible. Like, there's not a bad moment in this album. And this is one of those albums that I like only come back to every now and then because like, I want to have the full experience. I want to give it my full attention when I listen to it. It's not like one you just put on while you're doing something. Like, this is just like just a masterpiece. I hope other people will enjoy this album as much as me. I haven't heard it talked about enough, I don't think. Two best songs in my opinion are Dead and Push. Let me know your list for 2021 as well. There's probably some albums I missed. I know I can't hear everything, but if you guys are recommending something, I definitely want to check it out. So drop it in the comments. I'm going to try and catch up on some that I might have missed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.